Today's video, that looks delicious, doesn't it? Hello, welcome back. Hey, today we're going to be making some fajitas. Now I've got, you know, that typical thing, that skirt steak. Oh, that's what we make good fajitas with. But it's not just the steak and the marinade, it's also some of the stuff you put on it. So we're going to be making a nice pico de gallo. We're going to be cooking up some chilies and onions to go with it. Folks, if you've never had fajitas, you've missed out. If you've had fajitas, and that's pretty much most of America, you know how good they can be. And this recipe is really good. So you'll know, fajitas, they actually began in Texas. No, I'm not kidding around. You might say, no, they began in Mexico. Okay, well, you're right. When Texas was Mexico, this was a beef area, okay? This is where they herded cattle, all right? So this was very common. And so the trimmings off of the beef that the butchers weren't really interested in, which would be things like skirt steaks and the tails and certain other undesirable cuts, they would give those to the cowboys. A lot of the cowboys were Hispanic, all right? They would take and make fajitas with this cut. And it was a celebration food. And they would be celebrating because, hey, they just got a whole lot of meat. It was a good day at work. So let's celebrate. Let's have some fajitas, some good food, and enjoy what we have. Folks, come over here. Let's get busy making fajitas. Come on. So today, folks, I'm not going to be giving you quantities on the ingredients so much as I am going to be telling you just a way of preparation. This is like you do a steak, all right, and you season the steak. You don't measure out the seasoning before sprinkling it on. You simply sprinkle it on until it is a certain amount on the meat, and I want to show you that. This is going to be a seasoning that is made from lime juice, salt, paprika, cumin, and cayenne for that meat. And over here we're going to be making some vegetables, and I'm going to be using, instead of bell peppers, which are commonly used, like this little guy, instead of the bell pepper, I'm going to be using these right here as my primary pepper. These are poblanos. They're delicious. They have a great flavor to them. They're thick and meaty, and I love this chili for this dish. Also, I like onion for this, not as much. I usually go more of the poblano than onion on my fajitas. However, I still like it. Now, the kind of onion you use is up to you. You can go red, yellow, white. A lot of times I'll use red just because it's a good, colorful onion. All right, and as far as pico de gallo, folks, it is cilantro, tomatoes, some jalapenos. All right, it's not a difficult thing, and a little bit of onion is diced up to go with that. All right, so easy to do when it comes to pico de gallo. We have everything we need here. We just need to get busy making some delicious. And that starts with marinating the meat. That takes the longest. I also need to get that silver skin off of the back of it. So you'll know, if you want to know how to remove silver skin from one of these, I have a video on how to take silver skin right off of your skirt steaks. It gets into the details of it, exactly how it's done. And it is flat cool. So check that video out and find out how to do that the easy way so you don't have to struggle. I have my fajita meat already trimmed up. I just took care of removing all of the silver skin on the back. Now there's still some fat on the back, and you'll see bands there. Leave that in place, all right? And the thin membrane that runs under the silver skin, that little whitish looking stuff, that will break down with our with the seasoning that we're about to do on it. The marinade itself will soften that. It'll break it down so that when these are grilled, that won't even be noticeable. There's one thing I want to mention. After you season and grill your meat, you're going to want to not cut it this way. Don't cut it with the grain. Cut some blocks like here and here, and then cut crosswise to the grain so you have strips with meat that'll pull apart much more easily. A lot easier for your diners to enjoy that. If you cut just lengthwise to the grain, well, if you've ever been in a restaurant and the fajita meat pulled out and it was really hard to chew, that was why. It was because the chef did some rotten thing like that. All right, so we're gonna season this. I want to cover this with lime juice and hit it with salt, paprika, cumin, and cayenne. on both sides. Now the amount, well, of course, drench it with the lime juice. The normal amount of salt that you would use on a steak like this. Paprika, you want to turn it just lightly red with paprika. You don't go super heavy on it. And the same way with the cumin. Be kind of light on that cayenne, folks, because that stuff is really hot. So you don't want to burn yourself. Leave it light, leave it mild. You're just looking for the flavor of it, not for its heat. All right, that's how I do it, and I do that on both sides. All right, I was just finishing up there. So I've got this fully marinated. I've hit it with the lime juice on both sides and with the paprika, cayenne, and cumin on both sides and some salt. Now I'm going to put this into a plastic bag and let it marinate. Give it plenty of time, a couple of hours of marinating before you put it on a nice hot smoky grill. I have that meat seasoned, and in the bag here I'm going to just put it in my refrigerator and let it marinate. Okay, I put the bowl under there just in case the bag leaks. When you're making fajitas, pico de gallo is an absolutely essential part of this fantastic dish. It's colorful, but it's also delicious. It has flavors that pop and snap and go so well with that fajita meat. So I recommend definitely always do fresh pico de gallo. Now, it's not hard. I'm going to simply dice up my items over here. I'm going to chop up some of the cilantro, mix it together in a bowl with some lime juice and salt, and that is pico de gallo. And it's simple as coring these, making sure that there's no seeds in those. And if you want to find out how all that's done, hey, that's the tutorial version. Check that out. It's worth watching. Now I'm going to use part of that onion to be pan fried with my jalapenos, or excuse me, with my poblanos later on. So I'll be not using the whole thing here. Okay, I've got some pico de gallo here, and I got my onion cut up, those jalapenos, the tomatoes, cilantro, lime juice, salt, and ladies and gentlemen, a fantastic pico de gallo right there. Now folks, so when you're going to be doing chilies, whether they're bell peppers, little tiny thing there, or whether they're poblanos or whatever, you can go ahead and scorch the skin off. There's two ways of doing this. Scorch it off and pull it off with a paper towel or just your fingers. It leaves a nice charry flavor. Or score it and wash it off. It's going to remove some of the flavor because you're washing the oils out from the chili. But it's a lot faster, it's a lot cleaner, and you don't end up with the black specks. Now, both ways are entirely correct and they're both good. One just gives a different result than the other. So you choose which way you prefer. But either way, I recommend getting the skin off because it's a little more pleasant when it's been charred off first, all right? So do that. I have scorched the skins and cleaned the skins off of these and also removed the crowns. I'm just going to slice them. I usually make about 1/2 inch wide slices on these, and the same way on my onion, and then I just pan fry them at a real high temperature so I can get a little searing and sweetening on all of this before serving it with the fajitas. So I have finished slicing up my vegetables and have them ready to go. Pico de gallo is all ready to go. I have my meat here that's marinating still, and it is ready to hit the grill anytime I want to put it out there. When I put this out on the grill, I have my pan already heated for this, and I start cooking both of them at the same time. We're looking at a very short cook on both, okay? It takes about 8 to 10 minutes total cook time across the board. The other thing I want to mention, when I cook meat on the grill, a lot of times I want a smoky flavor. A lot of people say they use charcoal so they can get that smoky flavor. That works, it really does. However, if you got a gas grill, you can still get it. If you want the flavor of the charcoal itself, put charcoal in a smoker box like this. This ugly little box, this nasty thing, is put underneath the grill grate. I put wood inside of it, like this. This is just a chunk of mesquite. I want to set it in there. I'm going to heat it up under the grill grate on top of the burners, and when that starts smoking and the grill grates are hot, I'm ready to grill, okay? And I get my good smoky flavor, and I get a wonderful gas cooking situation. So I like to cook with gas. It's very even. It gives me even flow across the top. I can turn it on and off whenever I want, And I don't have to buy all that extra charcoal. I just use a little bit of wood in a smoker's tray, and it works great. Well, it looks like I have everything ready for my fajitas. Now there's some other stuffs I can, there's some other stuff I can put with this. Cheese, all right, sour cream, guacamole. Oh man, just all kinds of stuff. And which cheese do you use? How about some queso fresco? Mexican cheese, good crumbling cheese. It's delicious. Or some plain cheddar, Monterey Jack if you prefer. Folks, there's a lot of options, so think about that. If you want sour cream on there, that's fine. Or you can get, if you go to a Hispanic market, if you have one in your town, you can get what's called crema, which is the Hispanic version of sour cream. It's sort of like crème fraîche in France. They're all the same thing. They're all cultured creams. Each one has their unique flavor and texture. So I have everything ready here. The meat's ready to hit the grill. My pico de gallo, I just need to stir it a couple of times, but it has been macerating and it is looking beautiful. I have my vegetables ready to hit a good hot fry pan and a good pan to do it with. So I'm going to start heating my pan, and I'm going to go out and turn on the grill, and this stuff goes out. Now, part of season 7 on the tutorials gets into timing on stuff like this. You know, timing your meal out, and there's a lot in that. So if you ever want to check out those tutorials, do so. There's some neat information there. Sometimes they're a bit over detailed, but there's a lot there. Folks, I'm about to get out on the grill, and we're going to get busy cooking it up. Okay, I've got this stuff cooking here. My grill has another 4 minutes of heating, and then I'll get my meat out there. Everything will kind of come together at about the same time. If you have tortillas you're using, put those in the microwave to heat them up if you like, or you can just heat them on a flat pan. Okay, I'm getting some good searing on my veggies. That's what you're looking for. So get that across your vegetables. Turn off the pan's heat once you're starting to get good searing across them, like I'm getting here. And at that point, you're ready to serve, okay? That looks so good tasting. I'll pull these up on the side to keep them a little cooler. Well, I've just finished flipping these over. They're looking gorgeous. They're getting plenty of smoke. In a moment, we're going to be cutting them. Folks, everything has come together wonderful. I would like to mention, when cutting these, don't just go cutting across like this. Cut a section and then turn and do cross cuts. That way you're cutting across the grain of the meat, which runs this way, by the way. So that way you don't have people pulling the meat out of their tortilla as they're trying to eat your fajitas, okay? So cut them the right way. Cut them cross grain. I always make just a little mess when I'm enjoying these. They're so good, so delicious. The meat tender, well marinated. The flavors pop, it sparkles. Please enjoy those. You're going to enjoy this recipe. Folks, thank you for watching. Please take a look right under this in the description box. You're going to see a link for S.A.Trotter Arts. That is where I have the PDF version of my recipes. There's some other stuff there too. Please take a look. Thank you for coming and watching this, and I appreciate your viewership. Folks, if you haven't subscribed, please do so, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.